We are welcome in the program of Diplomatic Enclave from Channel 5, and today it's a great honor for me that I have with me His Excellency the High Commissioner of Malaysia, Dato Dr. Hasrul Sani Mujtabar. Excellency, very welcome in my program. And as you know that Pakistan and Malaysia have a very excellent friendly relation since the both countries have established diplomatic relation in 1957. And both countries have extended cooperation in the field of economy and trade, and Malaysia is one of the countries that Pakistan have a free trade agreement with your countries. Excellency, I would start my interview by asking you that how was your experience in Pakistan as an ambassador and your interaction with the leadership of Pakistan and its people?
First of all, allow me to thank Channel 5 for having me to be interviewed today. It gives me the opportunity to meet to interact with the people of Pakistan. Coming back to your question, I have been here since July 2011, so it's over 3 years now, and I have always enjoyed my stay in Pakistan because of many reasons. Among others, this country is a rather unique country because of its long historical heritage that you have. You have a very rich culture because of this long history, and history has always been my favorite subject. So I always enjoyed my stay here since I arrived, and of course the people here are very friendly, and I think all my diplomatic colleagues can attest to my words on that. You have a wonderful people, and you should be proud of the people. And in terms of my interaction with the leaders and people of Pakistan, it has always been my deep focus, not only to maintain but to enhance the relationship from time to time. Yeah.
And Excellency, can you explain any similarities between the two countries, as we have a very strong cultural heritage and people-to-people contact? You are trying to make it more effective, but how you can explain with your interaction the people of Pakistan and the religious and the cultural the values that we share each others?
Malaysia and the countries in the subcontinent, we had a very long relations. In fact, historians have traced even during the time of the Gandhara civilization, there have been some links between the two countries, the two regions. Until today, the cultural ties are very close, and many of your people have settled in Malaysia, and some of them has also come back to Pakistan. And 70 to 80% of the Pakistani people who have settled in Malaysia are actually from KPK area, and they have helped to enhance the cultural ties, the people-to-people ties, by working there, various sectors of our economy, and we are very appreciative of what they had contributed actually, because your people are hardworking people, and they are hardy people as well. They can even survive in areas that some of our local people cannot do. So we really appreciate your contribution. And we have even in modern times, maybe some of you might know that one of our queen is actually a Pakistani who married to one king of Malaysia. To be more direct, it is the state of Pahang, a province. We call it state. You call it a province. She is still the queen of that province or state. And last 2 years, she was in Pakistan to visit her old place, which is in Karachi. And inshallah, she told me that she will be coming again to Pakistan, perhaps this time to Islamabad or Lahore. And there's also another interesting fact that your people has also contributed in the formulation of our constitution. Actually, when we formulate our constitution, there's one Pakistani Chief Justice Hamid, if I'm not mistaken the name. He is one of those lawyers who has been elected by the Commonwealth to help to formulate our constitution. So in this regard, relationship always close with each other. And the other interesting fact is that because of the settling of the Pakistani over there, you can see also the dishes of Pakistani have like a mingle with the Malaysian food. Some of the curry, some of the like chapatis and so on. There is some link with the food here. Similar. And of course, being Muslim countries, we are the two Muslim countries that first signed the free trade agreement, as you mentioned earlier. So this is something that we are very proud of because we believe that the cooperation between the Muslim countries must be stronger from day to day.
And Excellency, just you mentioned that Malaysia is one of the countries that we have a free trade agreement.
Yeah.
And as we know that your country is a very effective member of ASEAN, and your country is a role model in terms of strong and stable economy. So do you satisfy with the trade volume at the moment between the two countries, and especially as a High Commissioner, what are your plans to promote the trade and the commercial and economic ties between the two countries?
Well, since the adoption of our free trade area in 2007, the bilateral trade has improved since then, because we have allowed access of your goods to Malaysia and the Malaysian goods to Pakistan. But the last 1 or 2 years, unfortunately, because sale of our palm oil has dropped, because you consume a lot of palm oil, and now we have a strong competitor from other countries. So you have bought the cheaper palm oil from our neighboring country. So because of that, our trade volume has reduced a bit, but overall it's still a big volume, about $2 billion US. It's still among the highest among the ASEAN countries. But certainly, if you ask me whether I'm happy or not, certainly I would say that I would like to see more trading and investment between the two countries in future. And as a High Commissioner, of course, we are looking into all aspects of how to improve further, whether in the areas of infrastructure, areas of energy, in areas of housing, township. We are talking about so many new projects coming in Pakistan now. For example, the CPEC coming, you have a fantastic program with China, So this kind of thing, I think, provides a window of opportunity for also from Malaysia, because I'm sure with such a mammoth project of about 460 billion, if I'm not mistaken, surely you also can provide opportunities for other countries besides, of course, between you and China. So these are one area that I feel that I'm looking into very, very seriously, where we can really identify what are the projects that we as a brother country to you, we can work together, inshallah.
And just you mentioned that Pak-China Economic Corridor is a called real game changer in this region.
Right.
So we have a very cordial brotherly relation with your country. How do you explain the future of this project and its impact on the whole region, and how do you see your leadership to this project?
Yes. Well, to be honest with you, I think your leadership has done a wonderful job identifying this project, CPEC, and I'm following very closely of this project that your government is undertaking. Certainly, Malaysia supports such a joint undertaking between you and China, because I believe that this is an important vehicle or platform for your country to move forward. The certain part of your country, especially the western part, is still not that developed yet, but having this project which connects from Gwadar right to the borders of China, and also you can link to the Central Asia in future, so it provides great opportunities to the people of Pakistan in terms of improving the livelihood and so on and so forth, building new township, new energy projects. So this is something that Malaysia hope that you will achieve, in future. And as I said earlier, by having this project, you also provide the opportunity not only to you, also to your regional friends, and also even to like further away ASEAN countries, because you can imagine products from ASEAN, from Malaysia, for example, can go to western part of China through this route, rather than we have to go through all the way through Hong Kong to to the eastern part of China and cut across the western part. It's shortest. So the way I look at it, it is a win-win situation for many countries. So this is really a wonderful project, and of course I could see that to China this is a very strategic project for them. It's part of their Silk Route, the maritime Silk Route. So it's a win-win situation, both for you, for China, for the regional players, and even for ASEAN countries like Malaysia.
And Excellency, as you see that the economic indicator are showing the positive trends in our economy.
Yeah.
But how do you see the climate of investment in Pakistan? And do you think that our economic reforms are very productive and very meaningful? So how your country see the investment climate in Pakistan?
Well, you see, in today's world, it's a very competitive. Now, every country, in order to survive, they have to be in competition with its neighbors or with other players. So, for example, you are in the subcontinent, so your environment should be as good or better than your neighbors. Then only you can attract the foreign investors coming in to invest more in Pakistan, because in a globalized world, they look for opportunities, and they look for the best opportunities to make profit, and also to help the country who host the project. So from my perspective, I look at it, you have, after the new government took over, there has been some positive changes, but it takes time. But the foundation has been laid. I'm very happy to see some foundation has been laid, for example, the CPEC and so on, and some infrastructure.
Energy projects.
Energy projects. These are good, but sometimes it takes time, because in order to build, take for example the Malaysian case, we take about 3 decades to start to develop from agriculture-based economy to now an industrialized-based economy. So it takes about 3 decades. So we have to be realistic, but to see that, good program must be in place first of all, and then the government, subsequent government, must continue to follow up. So if you look at all the countries in the world, for example, if we take the case of Japan or China or Korea, it takes about that period, 20 to 30 years. So if your government, your people will continue this hard work that you have done today, not to reverse it, but to continue, inshallah you will achieve similar results like many other countries, inshallah.
And sir, can you explain that, do you satisfy with the current political, diplomatic relation between the two countries? And any high-level visit from your country is expected this year to Pakistan?
Yeah.
And exchange of delegation is going on between the two countries?
The exchange of visits has always been taken place between people to people, and also at the ministerial level. But I'm still hoping to achieve the high-level visit, which means either the president of your country or the prime minister of country. This is my goal before I leave this post. And the last visit was during the time of Tun Abdullah Badawi,
yes,
which you had the privilege to meet, I believe, in Malaysia. So it has been already about 4 or 5 years. We have not seen at that level. But my hope is within this year or next year, I've already started to initiate something so that maybe your president or the prime minister, can go over to Malaysia for their visit, and likewise from Malaysia to come over. But at the ministry level, as I told you, we have quite often. Recently, we had the Minister of Higher Education, because you know education is very important to us. We have about 7,000 students, 4,000 students in Malaysia, and this is very important. And in next month, our Minister of Tourism will be coming, of course, to promote the cultural ties, as well as to for the inauguration of our flight, direct flight from Kuala Lumpur to Lahore, which is they call it Malindo, Air Malindo. So that would, I hope, will spur more exchange of visits, more exchange of people to people, more cultural exchange, and so on and so forth. So I hope that it's a new chapter this year for both countries. Yeah.
Very interesting. And how do you see the Pakistan role regarding the stability in this region? As you know that Pakistan is a victim of terrorism from last many years, and our armed forces sacrifices to eradicate this menace of terrorism are commendable. But how your country can cooperate with Pakistan regarding to root out this, like this extremism, terrorism, and the security situation is that getting better. But we have seen that such incident take place, and it affect economy as well, Pakistan. But how you see the Pakistan role regarding stability?
To start with, I think Pakistan is a very important country in this region. So if you talk about security in this region, and if you leave out Pakistan in the equation, it will be a big mistake, because you are a great player in this part of the world, being located in a very strategic position geopolitically. So any role that you played is very important for the for peace and stability in the region. Yes, it's true that you are facing the threat of terrorism. Your army has done a wonderful job in trying to reduce the menace of terrorism. But from our experience, this is something, it's a long process. It would be a short process, to be honest with you. In the 50s, 60s, we had a surge of terrorism attacks, especially from the communism. But it takes a long period. So what I'm trying to say is, you have started well by the operation, what do you call it? Zab, yeah, but you have to continue it relentlessly. And the incident at Charsada yesterday is a strong reminder to Pakistan and the people that you cannot rest on your laurels. I know that last year there was a drastic decline of terrorist attack and so on. It was a very good sign. But as I said, you have to proceed further. You have to keep on going. And allow me to express my deep condolences to the bereaved families of the Chasada. And I hope Allah give their rest among in Jannah. So it's a sad incident, but we have to move on. Life sometimes is full of challenges, like my personal life during the Nalta incident recently, but we have to move on from there. I believe that if your two components of the country, which is one the military, one is the civil government, were to work closely together and address comprehensively and holistically the issues of terrorism and related to it. Related to it means, what I mean is that economic development, issue of poverty, marginalization, these are also issues which have strong link to terrorism, also education, So you have to address it holistically and comprehensively. And over a long period of time, you must sustain the efforts to address this terrorism. Then inshallah, I hope and pray that you will achieve your desired results. Yeah, inshallah.
And we take a short commercial break here, and then we will be right back to continue our discussion. Welcome back, obvious. His Excellency, as you know that two important Muslim countries, Iran and Saudi Arabia's tension is a cause of concern for your country as well and your leadership and for whole Muslim Ummah. So recently, as you witnessed that our Prime Minister Mian Nawaz Sharif and Chief of Army Staff General Rahil Sharif led this peace mission and shuttle diplomacy to diffuse the tension prevailing between the two countries, and they met the leadership of the both countries. But my question is specific that how do you see your country this peace initiative taken by Pakistan to diffuse the tension between the two countries, and what do you see the future of the relation between two countries?
Saudi Arabia and Iran are very important Muslim countries. Whatever relations that they have will have deep bearing to all Muslims around the world. So, as you said correctly, all of us are very concerned with what's happening between Saudi Arabia and Iran. For Malaysia, both countries are very close to us, Saudi as well as Iran. They are brothers like all other countries, Muslim. So we do not want to see any friction between two important Muslim countries. Because of that, I personally wish to applaud the initiative taken by your Prime Minister of going to Saudi Arabia as well as to Iran to meet the leaders and to see how things could be resolved, how differences could be resolved. From the initial observations that I see that from the statements made by both leaders of Saudi and also Iran, both said that they wish to see the confrontation or differences of opinion to be over as soon as possible. This is a good sign. So once again, your Prime Minister has taken a very commendable effort, and Malaysia would like to express our deep appreciation, because all of us as members of OIC and Muslim countries, we want to see unity among the Muslim countries. There's a lot of division among us, a lot of problems among us facing the Muslim Ummah. You can see all the problems in the world, in Syria, in so many other countries now, all Muslim countries. So I think it's time for Muslim countries to stop whatever differences they have. You got to really bring all our efforts together to resolve so many of the problems that are facing the Islamic Ummah today. Yeah.
So just you mentioned that OIC is a very important platform for resolving the issues between the Muslim countries, and your country is also very leading, a very effective member of the OIC. So how do you see that, how we can make it a very effective body so that all Muslim countries can resolve their disputes and conflicts by negotiation or dialogue?
OIC is, as you know, has a role to play actually, and he has always been a player. But the effectiveness of OIC depends on the effectiveness of the cooperation of the members. It's just like the UN. The UN can only move if the members of the UN work together, or the Security Council members work together. Likewise, in OIC, if the members, especially the main key members of OIC, could not resolve differences among them, it's very difficult to move. So in certain areas we are successful, let's say in education, in cultural, but in political areas we are still not moving much, to be honest, because of the very strong and entrenched position of each government. So this is something that leaders of OIC have to reflect and look upon themselves. What can you do to move forward? Because I've seen so many reports, you know, some of the countries, especially from the Western countries, when they talk about refugees, for example,
yes,
they was asking why none of the Muslim countries are helping, only the Western countries are accepting the refugees. This is it's true in a certain aspect, but of course there are things that they have done but not being publicized in the media for some reasons or no. But what I'm trying to say is there are many issues facing Muslim Ummah that we can actually resolve. We have the capacity. Muslim countries have the capacity. I know, for example, Pakistan have, Turkey have, other countries have, you know, Muslim countries. But how to reconcile the differences and how can we move as a team. So far we are like, still in a different direction. We are not as a team. This is something that Malaysia is very concerned about. We need to move forward. One country cannot do anything. Even if Malaysia wants to play a role, or Pakistan wants to play a role, active role, you cannot do it alone. You must have the cooperation of all the other countries. I remember my former Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir, said when he lamented, when he sees slow progress in OIC, he said sometimes OIC is like a big tanker, very difficult to move left or right, in the ocean. So this is something that is worth to ponder, for OIC to ponder, that how we can react fast in a situation where affects the Muslim Ummah rather than in a very slow manner, or so this is something we should reflect again, the OIC members. But I believe OIC still can play a good role. OIC has the capacity to do, but only if the members are willing to do so.
And Excellency, as you mentioned that your former Prime Minister Mahathir is a role model for the all Muslim country as well, and your leadership has taken this courageous decision to change the destiny of your people, and your economy is considered one of the best economy in the world and in the Muslim world as well. So how we can actually benefit from your experience that you used in your economy for the stabilization in the Muslim countries?
Yes, you correctly pointed out that we were fortunate to have Tun Dr. Mahathir as our previous Prime Minister. He was with us as Prime Minister for 23 years. So during his time, he has laid a very solid foundation for economic progress and prosperity. And I think one of the things that he did good for our country is that he built a good foundation in education, for instance. So he makes sure that the people get educated, even the people from the poor family or the marginalized area. So education was very, very strongly emphasized, education. And secondly, of course, the unity of all the people. We have various races, as you know, Chinese, Indians, Malays, and how to get all the different races, different religion, different culture to sit together and work together for the common good. And that he has done also. Not only he, of course, other prime ministers, but he in particular for over 23 years has led that unity. Then third, of course, the economic program. We have every year 5-year economic program, and plus also we have certain program like Vision 2020, where we want to make Malaysia a developed country by 2020, which is not very long. They have almost achieved it 3/4 already, a little bit more. And of course, the current Prime Minister also continued with the programs like the economic transformation program and other programs to enhance whatever the Prime Minister Mahathir had laid. He continued to build up. So what I'm trying to say is there is a continuity of policies from one Prime Minister to another. This is very important because from my observation in certain countries in the world, when there is no continuity, then it becomes a setback. One government set up certain policies, and the new government start to roll it back, and then start back again. So that will make the country cannot prosper that fast. But if you have a consistent policies, no matter who rule, but make sure that there is a continuity, at least 90% continue, inshallah, you will move forward. These are some of the formulas that I can think of to share with you. Then where Pakistan can also look at it and can apply some of it. Of course, you have your own uniqueness because you have a very different history than us. Like you have with your neighbors and so on. Because of that, you have prolonged that kind of less friendship with your neighbors, for example,
and conflicts,
and because of that you use a lot of money for certain allocations in military and so on. Whereas for us, when we have stopped the confrontation between our neighbors, a lot of money can be used to channel in economic development.
And education and health as well.
Education, health. So the other point that I would like to also raise is you can learn from the ASEAN region. If you have a good neighbor, you can help the country very fast to develop. I learned it. We learned it through a very difficult time also. At one time, as you know, ASEAN countries are divided. We had a confrontation with Indonesia, with Vietnam, with Philippines, like any other region. But when we decided in 1967 to build this, have this ASEAN declaration, we decided that whatever animosities, whatever problems should be resolved at the negotiating table. No more going to the jungle and fight with one another. So since then, I think the ASEAN community has prospered. And as you know, this year we have hosted the ASEAN and we are going to build an ASEAN community. You know, slightly less than the EU, you know, but it is having a community where we have a common market of over 550 million, and we are going to have more links, intra-links with the ASEAN countries. So this is something positive that we derive when we have a good relation with neighbors. So I think this is another experience where you can look into it and how you can apply it in this region, because here is to me is a very rich region. Pakistan is so rich in so many things. You have more than what we have actually. I see your minerals, your gems. You have so many things. You have so many resources. But if you have also a good, working neighbors with you, you can complement each other, because your strength, you can complement what India, for example, or India can complement you, or with Afghanistan, with Nepal, or with Sri Lanka, or with Bhutan, or whatever. No? So that is another factor that helped Malaysia, the close friendship with its neighbors. Yeah.
And as you know, sir, that your country is one of the leading countries in terms of tourism potential.
Okay.
And I think that the millions of people visit your country as a tourist.
Right.
How we can benefit for your experience in tourism in Pakistan? And secondly, my part of the question, that you are one of the very luckiest men who survived in a very tragic Naltar helicopter crash incident, and you lost your wife as well, and I'm privy of the fact that she loves this country, with Pakistan, very much. So how you explain that incident as well, and the tourism potential and the experience between the two countries?
Yes, it's true that tourism is a very important sector in our economy. Brings a lot of revenue, and we have about 28 million people visited Malaysia last year. Our population is about the same also. Just imagine the number of tourists coming, and every year the number increases. And also from our record shows the number of Pakistani who goes to Malaysia also increased. Last year about 18% increase compared to previous year. And this is good, because there are some factors that maybe make Malaysia an attractive place. One is, I think, the multicultural aspect, because we have Malays, Chinese, Indians. So our culture is a melting pot actually of different cultures. So if you visit Malaysia, you can see different kind of food, different kind of culture, many festivals around the year, and any tourist who come will enjoy. And recently we have a troupe from Sabah who came to promote the culture from Sabah, and they were very happy to see that your country also has many things to offer, and likewise Sabah to offer, because in the past always people from Pakistan goes to Kuala Lumpur, Langkawi, Johor Bahru, Melaka, but never go to Sabah, Sarawak. So this time there is more and more. So the attraction of Malaysia for tourism has many facets. So if you love also a kind of marine life, you can go to Langkawi or Sabah. We have the snorkeling, which is said to be among the top 3 best scuba diving in the world, you know. And the biodiversity in that part of the world is much older than the Amazon forest. So you can imagine that those who love this kind of adventure, you know, and those who love shopping, and the ladies, I know Pakistani ladies love shopping and so on. It's a heaven there. We have a very big sales every year, 3 or 4 times a year, and all the branded price can go down as low as 70%. And I could see many, when I go back to Malaysia, I went back to Malaysia recently, many Pakistanis went there for shopping in all the big malls. So I think I also try to bring the interest of Malaysia to come over. And I'm happy to inform you that one of our TV program will be coming to Pakistan soon to what they call it, make a program on the Mughal, emperors of Mughal, and how Islam spread in Pakistan. Because you are rich, as I said, you have a rich history, a rich culture, and we want to learn more about this. So I think for Pakistan, some of the things that you can improve, you have many things. I know beautiful places, and you know, you have the snow, you have the 4 seasons. We don't have. You have more actually. But again, your challenge will be on your security.
Yes.
If your security improve, I think automatically people will come. You know, you have beautiful places like in Gilgit, in Chitral, in northern areas, Suwal,
Kalam, and many areas.
Kalam, very beautiful.
My second part of the question, that this tragic incident taken place along with other ambassador, and you were badly injured, as we know, and God is very kind that you survived and to know you are completely very healthy. So how you explain that very bad experience, you know, this helicopter crash?
Yes, of course the tragedy in May last year, 2015, was something that is hard for me to forget. Not only me and my colleagues from other countries like Indonesia, Philippines, Poland, Holland, and so on, many others. But God has been kind to me to give a second chance to live. I'm very happy that God has given me this opportunity. And because of that tragedy, I have requested my government for me to stay another 2 years here, because that was the dream of my late wife. She loves Pakistan very much, and so do I. So I asked my government if you allow me to retire in Pakistan, because I've left about 2 years left before my retirement. So if the dream of my late wife could be materialized. And I'm also happy my new wife also loves Pakistan a lot. So because of that, we're happy to be here for the next 2 years. So I'm thankful also to all the people of Pakistan for their well wishes, and I've received a lot of support during the time of difficulties. So thank you very much to Pakistan. Yeah.
Excellency, thank you very much for being with us, and very fruitful discussion that we have for our program.